All right, welcome to the most compelling talk show on TV, The Desk on Global Television, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. My name is Anthony Momodu, and I've got a very interesting talking point that we'll be looking at, giving you very balanced analysis of all the big stories making the rounds from the global perspective and down to Africa's biggest black nation, Nigeria. We'll be looking at the issue, very big talking point that has to do with Gaza war, as the Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire after months of negotiations. Israel and Hamas on Wednesday reached a ceasefire agreement. This brings to a halt the conflict between the two, which lasted for 15 months after Hamas launched a surprise attack on October 7th at the southern part of Israel, leading to the death of about 1,200 persons. In retaliation, Israel has carried out a brutal attack on Gaza, killing over 40,000 people and displacing millions of others. The Israeli invasion has been described as a genocide by some experts, a claim Israel denies, and has led to the International Criminal Court to declare Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, alongside other members of the Israeli Defense Force, wanted. Meanwhile, the latest negotiation between Israel and Hamas lasted for 4 months or more, following the failure of an initial attempt at a ceasefire agreement in November 2023. But moving forward, Israel and Hamas reached an agreement after Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani held separate meetings with Hamas and Israeli representatives, and not forgetting that Egypt was also part of this peace deal. Confirming the agreement, U.S. President Joe Biden, who is on his way out of the White House, said in a statement that the deal would halt the fighting in Gaza and surge much needed humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians and reunite the hostages with their families after more than 15 months in captivity. So this is going to be one of the key issues we'll be looking at on today's edition of the program, The Desk. And we'll be moving from there and looking at other issues. We'll be coming down to the black continent, where we've got 54 countries making this continent. We'll be taking you to east part of Africa, where the country where we'll be focusing on our discourse today has to be Mozambique, where issues are still playing out in terms of the protests as regards the elections that played out. Despite weeks of demonstrations over the election results, Mozambique Constitutional Council has inaugurated Daniel Chapo as the country's president. Just to let you know that Chapo was sworn in as the 5th president of the Republic of Mozambique on Wednesday during a ceremony held under very tight security in Maputo, which happens to be the country's capital. While taking the oath, he vowed to protect democracy, human rights, and every citizen's interest. He pledged to reduce government spending and bureaucracy by reducing the number of ministries. He also pledged to tackle unemployment and put first the healthcare and education of the Mozambicans. So we'll be looking at this, what this means, especially the fact that he has promised to streamline government operations by reducing the number of ministries, aiming to also reduce bureaucracy. So we'll be looking at this very important talking point across Mozambique, and to ensure that the people of Mozambique get the very best. That will be coming down to Africa's biggest black nation, Nigeria, where it's Nigeria playing host to UAE president, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has invited the United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to Nigeria. A statement issued on Thursday by the president's media aide, the man called Bayo Onanuga, said that the UAE president has accepted the invitation and will be in Nigeria this year. So we'll be looking at what is the implication of this visit by the UAE president. What does it bring to the table? What advantage does it bring to Nigeria in terms of the oil and gas sector, and also the economic hardship, bedeviling the country? So we'll be looking at that in close perspective. These and other talking points is what we'll be looking at on today's edition of the program, The Desk, and not forgetting the insecurity in the country, as we also look at the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, saying they're going to set up the anti-money laundering unit across the country, a strategic move to fight terrorism financing. The big question is, is the EFCC, the ICPC, the National Intelligence Unit, are they not enough units, enough agencies to fight terrorism financing? Why does the Nigerian police has to get involved with this? Is it another way to smear their hands into corrupt monies? Is what we'll be looking at on today's edition of the program, The Desk. Okay, we'll go for a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll be talking to my guest who is a diplomatic aide and also a journalist, right here in the Federal Capital Territory. His name is Olubenga George. Hopefully he'll be joining us via Zoom so that we can look at these issues from a very close perspective. Stay with me.